Oh, well, hello. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the Dry Creek Joint Elementary School Board with board members Walker, Haynes, Pagnoni, Falcom, and Pensky in attendance. Are there any requests from the public?
Not at this time.
None? Okay, so hearing none, we will adjourn to closed session. Hello, friends. Okay, we are reconvening the regular meeting of the Dry Creek Joint Elementary School District with all board members present. If you will please rise, remove your hats, and we'll go ahead and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, we have a special guest here today. I should say guests. We have the Olive Grove robotics team. And they are led by the advisor, Sarah Counter, who's also here today. They're gonna put together a short demonstration. And I don't know if you've had the chance to come up here and look and see all of this stuff up here, but if you haven't, it's a lot of fun. But if you guys wanna come up and show us what you guys are doing with all your robotic stuff. You ready?
All right.
Go.
You got it.
And I'm guessing if you guys back there can't see and you wanna come up, you should. Don't feel like you have to sit in your chairs.
You won't be on the video, it's just us, so.
Good evening, my name is Lucas and we are the Olive Grove Elementary EVEX robotics team. Today we are here to ask you for your support so we can continue and grow our robotics program next year. Robotics is more than just building robots. Through robotics, we learn coding, engineering, math, and how to work as a team. We also learn the importance of trying again when something doesn't work the first time. Robotics helps us build confidence, communication skills, and the love of learning that carries into our classrooms every day. Our team practices once a week after school, and we even take time out of our lunch and recess and meet. The program
Let me get you a new one, buddy. No, it's done.
It wasn't you.
Creating obstacles.
You're used to technical difficulties.
coming up.
So what are these green eagles or something you guys are wearing?
You can hear everywhere in here though. That's the
Mascot.
mascot.
Mascot? Cool.
I know, I love you, Sharice.
You can start over if you want. Yeah. I'm just gonna start over.
Okay.
Robotics is more than just building robots. Through robotics, we learn coding, engineering, math, and how to work as a team. Robotics helps us build confidence, communication skills, and the love of learning that carries into our classrooms every day. Our team practices once a week after school, and we even take time out of our lunch and recess and meet. The program is open to 4th and 5th grade students. This slide shows what robotics competitions are like for our team. We compete in teamwork challenges where we work together with other teams to solve problems and score points together. We also do driving skills and coding skills where one robot works on the field and we have block-based programming. Another important part of robotics is keeping engineering notebooks and being judged on things like teamwork, effort, and sportsmanship. These competitions help us learn how to work together, think creatively, and represent our school in a positive way. And now we are going to demonstrate our robots that we built together from the ground up.
Power on. Bluetooth mode. Connected.
That's starting in 3.
It's on, it's just echoing.
The match is starting. Back up.
We're gonna get a quick restart. All right, Miles, go ahead and do a thumbs up. Do the thumbs up.
Quick restart, here we go.
Testing.
When he says one, Sarah, go ahead and start it. Yeah.
The match is starting in 3, 2, 1, go. And red team is trying, blue team has just completed a blue stack with the red team situation. And red team is picking up their 2 stacks and trying to make another stack. And blue team is finding a pin. Red team has just picked up 3 stacks. With blue team trying to make another 2 stacks. And the driver switch. The 2 stack almost full, the 3 stack almost full. And blue team has just made a 2 stack. Red team has just dropped the pin. Start shooting. 2, 1. Back down. I am now handing the microphone over to our judge, William, to calculate the points.
Since they got 2 3-color 3 stacks and made 6 connected pins, both teams earned 36 points. And since they knocked cleared a starting pin, they earned the grand total of 38 points.
Next, we'd like to share some photos of our team. These 2 slides show us working together, building our robots, and participating in robotics competitions. In these moments, we are learning how to problem solve and support one another. We'll see teamwork, creativity, and a lot of perseverance in these photos. Each picture represents the time, effort, and excitement we put into robotics. These experiences help us grow not only as team members, but as students and leaders at our school. We are very proud of what we have accomplished together, and these photos capture what robotics means to us.
Here is a slide that shows why robotics works for our school. Robotics works well for our school because it helps all students learn important skills in a fun way. It supports STEM learning, which means science, technology, engineering, and math. In robotics, we learn how to think critically and solve problems instead of just giving up. Overall, robotics helps students grow academically, socially, and emotionally, and it brings our school community together. Robotics is a smart use of resources because one set of equipment can be used year after year. This makes it a cost-effective program that has a big impact on our learning.
Here's a slide that shows our goals for next year. Next year, we're going to have some exciting goals for our robotics program. We would like to increase from 2 teams to 5 teams so more students can join. We also want to keep improving our coding skills and learning new ways to program our robots. Another goal is to look for grants like the CDE to help support our program. We also plan to fundraise so we can buy equipment and we keep robotics going year after year. These goals will help our robotics program grow and stay strong for future students.
We would like to take a moment to thank Plaster Robotics for providing equipment and mentoring that helped our school participate in this year's robotics competitions. Because of their support, we were able to learn hands-on, build friendships, and experience what it's like to work with robotics. We learned how to solve problems, work as a team, and believe in ourselves. Thanks to their help, we discovered what is possible. Now, with your support, we hope to continue and grow this program so more students can have the same opportunities we did. Who knows, this experience could be the beginning of a future career for some of us as engineers.
Next, we'd like to share a short video of some of our team members competing in a robotics competition. This video shows all the hard work, teamwork, and excitement that goes into robotics. This competition took place at Sierra Community College, where students from all over Northern California traveled to compete in the tournament. We were especially proud to represent Sacramento because we're the only team from our area. We had so much fun building, coding, and competing together. This experience is something we will always remember. We hope you enjoy watching this video as much as we love being part of robotics.
It's unfortunate because normally the announcers, their teenage mentors will actually chime in, and they actually, just like Miles did earlier, they do a play-by-play. It's actually hilarious. And they'll talk about what each team is doing at each stage. So this is up against a team who has a very different robot design than ours. So they work together, and beforehand the two teams will collaborate and say, these are my strengths and these are our strengths. And they'll develop a game plan before they start the match. And so they have worked together to score as many points as possible, and in this particular match they scored quite a bit. $290.
Nice work.
Good job.
Jason. Oh, Jason. Last one, I promise.
On behalf of our entire team, we would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to us for today and for considering our request. Your support will help us continue learning, growing, and working as a team. Robotics has taught us confidence, problem solving, and teamwork, skills that we will use for the rest of our lives. Our students will have the opportunity to do robotics and discover what they're capable of. Thank you for believing in us, supporting our school, and helping shape our future.
And that's it.
You guys are great.
Thanks, Colleen.
Does anyone wanna ask the robotics team any questions?
I have a question. So in the video, the other team you guys played against, their robot looked totally different than your robot. So you guys worked together to design this particular model? Or why is your robot look different than their robot? How about you, Evan?
So this is the first year, so we're building the basic bot. We're building the basic bot so we could just try out and see what we could do. And it's probably like second or third year doing that. And they've probably been designing that for a very long time.
I like you guys better, for the record.
Did you wanna add to that?
So the whole point of going here is to maybe raise money, and so you can maybe get our bot like theirs and maybe score more points.
So theirs is fancier technically?
What?
Their bot is more fancy than your bot technically, or
Technically,
just a little bit?
they can kind of
Does it fly?
Sometimes.
Not yet.
It's actually designed as robots.
Okay. I like this.
Impressive.
I like this. And those two are identical then, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
But we just did a couple
Yeah.
distinguishing features like that.
okay, cool. Thank you. That's all my questions.
So I'm just curious real quick, were you all interested in robotics before you discovered this program, or was this just something you thought, oh, I'm gonna try this out? What about you?
Well, Ethan and I, before robotics, we were actually in a summer camp led by Plaster Robotics, so we have a little bit of experience, but we are still fairly new to it.
Hard to tell, you guys did an amazing job. So I got a question for you guys. So in addition to stacking the pins and looks like some really cool productivity type stuff, what else can you guys do with the robots in these competitions? Yes,
So, there's a specific special stack that includes a beam and 2 blue pins, 2 yellow and 2 red with 3 different configuration 2 stacks on that, and you put it onto the center goal and it gives you a lot of points.
that's so cool.
It's a cactus.
Okay.
Cactus building, I love it. You, sir.
Like for example, at our last competition, when we were watching the final game, the team that was versing the 2 teams that were working together, they made 2 cactuses, and the other team, everything the other team had to do was just put like a yellow, red, or blue pin on the yellow pin on the standoff goal, and then what they did is they just put a beam and then 2 or 3 stacks flipped over onto the beam, and then they would lift it up onto the yellow standoff goal, and with all the extra time they would make another beam, but they would make another cactus and they would put it on another stack, which in that game it made them 222 points.
Woo, that's a lot of points. I have a quick question. You guys say you have 2 teams now, do you wanna have 5 teams?
No, we have 3 teams and we're planning to get 5.
So next year, you're hoping to have a much larger
Yeah.
team. That's great.
Cause so much people joined, so much people wanted to join, we had to do a raffle. And most of those people couldn't join, so
Oh, no.
That makes it tough.
more people that wanna join can join.
I love what you guys are doing.
Take care of this.
We had a lottery, we had to go to a lottery because we had, the interest level was so high that we couldn't accommodate all of the kids that were interested in the program.
I'm
So
not
our goal is to
surprised.
make this more inclusive so that we can include more students next year.
Hope so, yeah.
I'm not surprised. You guys are great. And I know sometimes I forget how articulate young people can be. You guys just, do you know what articulate means?
Yeah.
I saw somebody go, what does that mean?
Future looks great for you
You
kids.
really do, you're able to explain things really well. So we appreciate it. Thank you for being here today.
Well, I wanna extend appreciation to Mrs. Counter,
Yes.
your team, your staff, and the parents, for bringing them and for involving them and just getting this extracurricular mind expanding activity, getting them involved in that. So many thanks to the grown-ups on this, and thanks to you guys for doing such an awesome presentation. We're very proud of you.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, we're gonna take a short recess and then we will come back in probably, I would say maybe 10 minutes, so the gavel works, guys. Okay, very good. Okay, welcome back to the Dry Creek Board meeting. We just enjoyed a really great presentation from the robotics team from Olive Grove. We're gonna move on to reports out of closed session. So 3.1, there's nothing to report. 3.2 on personnel, nothing to report. 3.3, conference with real property negotiator, nothing to report. 3.4, conference with legal counsel, nothing to report. 3.5, nothing to report. 3.6, the board voted 5-0 in closed session to approve the readmission of student 2025 A2. All right, we're gonna move on to public comment. We have one public comment from an individual, commenting on something not on the agenda, so.
Yes, this evening we have Brian Fairclough.
Hi, Brian, it's nice to see you.
Yes, already on, yes. Again, my name is Brian Fairclough and I do reside in the Dry Creek School District. So what is being taught here is a direct impact on the children in our neighborhood, the adults, and the future leaders of our country. I want to thank Jean and the Board of Trustees to allow me to discuss this today. And I want to tell you that I didn't attend the meeting on January 22nd, but I was literally appalled because I was watching online. I could not believe what was going on in that meeting. It was unbelievable. And it all revolved around having a video that was the direct result of past board meeting where it was suggested that we also show a video, Baby Olivia. That was pushed off to say, okay, we'll have a future meeting on a video. And in the meeting on January 22nd, that was presented. If you ever wanted to have anybody watching a video about the wonderment of childbirth, that's the one I would pick. Especially in, is there something wrong here?
I can step back. I think when you get too close, it gets
Okay,
boring.
some mics you gotta get close, especially in this day and age. It was the most mundane, not interested, and it treated the magic of birth, a natural process, as some mundane process. Exactly what the folks who objected it wanted it to be. And then we heard comments like, well, we have to approve that video because we don't want to upset anybody who might be part of the board next year. Because most of the board is gonna be leaving. My goodness, to actually say because you're leaving the board that you don't wanna upset somebody who you don't even know that's gonna get elected in your statement? And you shrug it off by saying, well, you know, parents can excuse the children from the school, or from the class. That's okay. You know what that really is saying, I agree, totally agree from a board standpoint that if we're teaching a bunch of oddities to the children, oh, they can just walk off and not attend. Another way to say what a mundane process that childbirth is. And to attack the modern day version in this technology from something like Baby Olivia simply because it was presented or built by somebody who was a pro-life group is totally ridiculous.
Brian, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Hey, Brian, I wanna thank you for your comments very much, I appreciate it.
I'm also gonna say that I don't know about any of, who knows who's gonna be here? We could all still be here, well, most of us.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you being here and your comments. Okay, we're gonna move on to the reports, so Sarah, did you have anything to say?
I just wanted, we're heading into a week off next week for the kids and teachers, but the following, well, not the following week, but a couple weeks after we get back, we will be having our last calendared professional development day for all the certificated staff. And the Ed Services team has been diligently working on all of the presentations and professional development for each of the different certificated areas, and we would extend the invitation for you guys to join, just to connect with Shay, and she can provide you with the schedules and such. Just a reminder that if multiple are attending, we'll wanna make sure we're not all at the same sessions at the same time, so we don't get any violations of the Brown Act. But if you guys coordinated which ones you were gonna be at or which school sites we're gonna be at, Heritage Oak and Silverado, correct, Shay? Yeah. Got it right. And the middle school staff, special education staff, and gen ed staff will be, elementary gen ed staff will be mixed up and around and provided different sessions, so it should be a great day, a good way to wrap up the school year.
Thank you. Hi, Desiree.
Hi. Hello. Well, we have been working really hard in admin services, just preparing for next year and all the conversations that comes with that. But also with that enters in job fair season, and so job fairs are coming up, and the one that I would like to extend to you is on March 7th at PCOE. That will be a great opportunity for you to see our district shine, as we always like to make a good showing there, and just it's always impactful to see the excitement in those who are looking for jobs, and gives us the opportunity to just share with others how special Dry Creek is. So definitely look forward to the recruitment season as it is quickly coming upon us, and thank you to all of the principals and directors who have been working really hard this past few weeks with roadshows in preparation for staffing and looking forward towards next year, because we are already 1 foot in that world. So thank you so much.
Wow, thank you.
I'll just echo a little bit of that. The same thank you to the principals and directors. It is a lot to jump in. We're also asking them to look at second interim, which we're gonna be bringing to you in March. So we're doing a little double duty. And thank you both to Des and to Sarah for the things that we've been working on together so closely these last couple of weeks has been a great experience for me. Talking about next year and talking about staffing, and we have seemed to work really, really well as a team. And it doesn't feel like it's my first round here. It's been that easy and comfortable, and them sharing their knowledge with me of what has happened in the past and how we've approached things has been tremendously helpful. So thank you. And thank you to all the principals who have welcomed me and shared their thoughts and questions and allowed me to dig in a little bit so that I can help make some decisions on my end and bring some suggestions. So they've been very open, and it's been a great experience so far.
Board Member Walker, is there anything you would like to say tonight?
Well, just thankful for all the awesome kiddos that came in here and demonstrated the robotics, and again, shout out to the site administrators that support these types of programs, the special activities that go on in your schools. I wish they had something like that when I was that age. They had stones and rocks when I was that age, so just wanna extend that appreciation, and then hope everyone has an awesome ski week. The rest of us, or I'll be working and looking from my office and trying to find childcare, so thanks for that.
I would like to know who's actually going skiing. Anybody? Yes. That's right.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, it's a very exciting time to have students here, so thank you, Jean, for bringing that to our attention, and it was very cool to get to celebrate that. I know the communications team does a great job of highlighting those different endeavors at each campus. There's lots of neat things happening all across our school district, but it's neat to see it in person at a board meeting. It's kind of sad now in here, quiet, and so I wanted to say thank you to staff. I've met with several of them over the last month. Specifically after at the last board meeting, we gave instruction to expand upon the parental notification for the sexual health curriculum. And that request was really a brainstorm amongst everybody, so I appreciate the support and the energy around that to try to make a safe environment for our kids, especially with the diverse opinions about the sexual health curriculum in the state mandates. I met with Megan Devine, and she gave me an overview of the enhanced transparency efforts that we requested, and I was very impressed to see the hard work that went into that. She did a very thorough job in partnership with the district staff, specifically Sarah and Cliff, and so they turned over a lot of rocks and anticipated a lot of questions that parents would have, and I'm really happy with the amount of information that parents are gonna have at their fingertips now to make the informed decisions for their children on the topics that they're exposed to in the state mandated curriculum, so that each family can specifically tailor it to their family's values and beliefs. I think that's a wonderful thing that we are doing. Not all school districts have, I mean, hardly any, I would imagine, have gone to the extent that our school district is doing around the issue. And I'm very appreciative of the spirit of transparency and communication. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out this spring with the very exciting sexual health curriculum season that I'm sure lots of science teachers are looking forward to. And so thank you for your hard work on this matter. I also, in my meeting with Cliff this last week, he was articulating some of the strategic moves that were made to anticipate local happenings and some student activity groups. And won't go into detail, but I was very impressed with how you guys foresaw potential issues regarding student safety, especially at the Silverado campus. I want to say thanks to Rich for being a great leader and making sure the kids are well taken care of, and that was stewarded exceptionally well from what I heard. So we just have a lot of trust for you all, and we're very appreciative of just how you take care of the kids and how you guys go above and beyond in so many different ways. And I just wanted to articulate my gratitude for that.
Thank you. Tracy, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Renee and the principals. I've spent some time looking at all of the school accountability report cards that were just recently published, and I'm very proud of our district and all of the programs that are offered. I'm very proud of the staffing statistics that are shared in that. And so it's just a big shout out to everyone for putting those together and being able to articulate how wonderful our district is and the programs that they do offer. So it's a good read, and I know a lot of people don't have the time to do that, but I think it's well worth it, and it's a lot to be proud of. I'm also, looking at enrollment up and down the state of California and how it's declining, and I'm very appreciative of our HR department as well as our fiscal services in always keeping a very proactive approach to fiscal responsibility as well as enrollment. And I'm curious as to what attracts, have we really taken the time to look into what attracts families to moving into the district, what keeps them here, and what keeps them here? Why do our families enroll in our district, or why do they not enroll in our district? And as we begin to look at declining enrollment, but also growth in our area, that's just a question that I have in the back of my mind, and I'd love to, be able to dialogue more with our community members of what is it that they think is the best about Dry Creek and what keeps them here. So as we go into, different types of enrollment trends, I think that's something to always think about. I wanted to thank the Ed Services staff. I was able to meet with a few staff members looking at different options for families that are enrolled in our transitional kindergarten program, which is, something that has been made available for our families, and preschool is going to be coming along. But with that, I think sometimes those programs were designed so that all students could access them, but due to the funding and the timing of the programs, not all of our students can access them. And sometimes the students who would benefit the most might not be able to attend because of the hours of those programs. And so it's kind of a sad thing of, our families, because they work or because things that are happening in their life, they may not benefit from some of these assets that we do have in our district. So it was very helpful to meet with Ed Services staff and understand that. And as we continue to grow as a district, it might be one of those questions that we ponder. Is this a need in our community? Is this something that our families need? And does it benefit our students? If we have more students enrolling, would they benefit from being able to attend a program that is shorter than the regular school day, and how could we wrap services around that? And then I also, wanted to give a shout out to our Placer County Office of Education, Jennifer Hicks, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, was just recently appointed as, I believe, as the President of the Instructional Quality Commission. And so, again, Placer County shining across the state, and that's a huge responsibility, and I think it's a great asset that we have somebody from our County Office of Education serving in that role. And those are my comments for this.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, John.
Hi, I have just a couple things. First, I want to mention my good friend Jim Ferguson couldn't make it tonight, and he's recovering, and he's in our thoughts and prayers, and I hope he can make it back soon. I think we're all wishing him the best and looking forward to a full recovery. I want to also thank the staff for their work on the sexual health curriculum. I understand Brian's comments earlier completely, and I frankly agree with them, but I do believe the fact that we do have some kind of video showing prenatal development, which I put as the highest priority for me as a positive, so it's better than we had before, just in general through the curriculum. Going forward, I appreciate the transparency that Megan worked on. She put together a very informative webpage with Cliff and Sarah's and everybody's input. Loved your, I guess she's way in the back there. I love the FAQs, they were great. And I did look at other websites of conservative districts in the state. They all use the same curriculum. Very few had as good a website as you put together. The Temecula Valley was really good though, by the way. But they have a huge budget. I don't know if I want to take a look at them, but it was pretty impressive with the videos and everything else. So, which is a conservative, I think it's the largest conservative district in the state, Temecula Valley is. Regarding the opt-out options, I wanted to mention that a little bit. The truth is that students, a lot of students, at least what I've been told, view opt-out world, as my daughter called it, is not a pleasant place to be. And after my daughter's protestations last year, my wife and I reviewed the curriculum, and we did have some pretty good information on it, not nearly as detailed as we have now. And decided not to opt out of the whole curriculum, but remove her physically from school for 2 of the presentations that we felt crossed the line from science-based to being more values-based, and it worked out okay for us. But I was gonna ask, would it be possible for teachers to give an option for parents to opt out of specific presentations versus either opt in the whole thing or opt out of the whole thing? So hopefully that's something teachers and parents can communicate on. It's a possibility. And also, is there a way to make it so the opt-out doesn't feel like a punishment or a bad place to go? Because that's kind of the impression I got. So I just wanted to mention that. And finally, I want to thank Cliff and the staff for putting together the board report. It was really helpful. And get well soon, Jim. I don't think he's watching this, but I hope he gets well soon and look forward to having him back. Thanks.
Hello, Superintendent Cliff.
Hello, thank you. Just want to echo some of the things that were shared. They're not here anymore, but shout out to Mrs. Counter and her students. I do think kids say the darndest things, and they're very entertaining and well articulate. And we had one, I don't know if anybody knows, but one of the students had his whole thing memorized.
It was great.
So.
It was amazing.
And then anytime kids can read with like inflection and kind of emotion, they're really bought in. So you could tell their passion. I was gonna ask a question, but it was probably gonna take us 30 minutes to get the answer. But the scoring, I was intrigued on how all the different ways that you score points. So, but it sounds like they change the game every year. So every year they have to learn kind of a new way to do things and how to score. So pretty fascinating. I'd mentioned this at the last meeting, but just wanted to follow up because there's been some movement, so our assistant principal here at Creekview Ranch, Rebecca Cody, was honored at the Placer County AXA, which is the Association of California School Administrators, event at the end of January. Because she won, she's moving on to the region, so Region 2 of AXA, so she'll be up for nomination there. She'll be honored on March 13th. So we'll see if she wins that one, cause now she's going up against
That's exciting.
people in her category in other counties in Region 2. And then if she wins that, then she goes to the state. So Renee and her team put together this really good video that's gonna be coming out soon that kind of highlights her and her element. And it's a wonderful video, and you can see her rapport and why the kids really respond to her. Just as a way of a report, since the last meeting, I attended the AXA Superintendent Symposium the last week in January. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend that event, but luckily we had a good showing of our administrators to support Rebecca. I was hoping to support her at the next event on March 13th, but I will be in San Jose supporting Renee and Michelle, who I shared last time, won 8 awards for the California Schools Public Relations Association, CalSPRA. So I'm gonna miss her again, but we're gonna make sure we have some representation there for Rebecca. As a team, ELT and our Director of Fiscal Services, we all attended the governor's budget proposal workshop that the School Services of California put on in downtown Sacramento, so you're gonna be hearing a little bit about that in Christy's presentation later. But that's kind of our first stab at where we think the budget might go next year. And then there are other reports that'll come later, taxes that'll be collected, and then there'll be revisions to this, but this at least gives us kind of some idea where we might be going. I met with each of the trustees since our last meeting for our check-ins, and then the last thing I wanted to share is I wanted to give a shout out to our Director of Facilities Maintenance, Operations and Transportation, Mr. Sean Schondelmeyer. He doesn't know this is coming, but do you know? Okay.
That's good.
You got a surprise. So every so often, our Ed Services team, our district leadership team, we participate in what are called learning walks. So we go to a particular school, we divide up. The principal usually shares some kind of information about what they're kind of working on instructionally and as a school, and then we go out and divide and conquer and view as many classrooms as we can, and then we come back and share kind of the good things that we saw and some constructive feedback and kind of help the school from an outside lens. And so we take the whole team, so it's not just certificated folks, it's our classified management as well. So I wasn't there at the Heritage Oak Learning Walk because I was at the symposium thing, but so there was a teacher who wanted to highlight her interaction with Sean and his follow-up, so I'm just gonna read you what she shared. So it was a teacher, Jennifer Headington. So she said, "This year, Sean Schondelmeyer happened to visit my classroom. I did not know who he was, but he introduced himself as the Director of Facilities, and then he asked if I had any issues in my classroom. I showed him 2 things that needed to be addressed. One was a loose carpet tile, and the other was a ceiling tile that was broken. I truly thought that he was just asking in general to see what repairs would need to be done over the summer, and I figured that I will fill out a work order at the end of the year to address the issues. To my amazement, the very next day, 2 maintenance workers arrived in my room and they asked to see the loose carpet. I showed them the carpet, then I jokingly said, "Well, I also have a broken ceiling tile." Instead of asking me where the tile was located, the men told me that Sean looked at all of my ceiling tiles during his visit and that they're going to replace 12 of them due to water stains. I was just speechless. I only asked to have the broken one replaced. The workers ended up having to special order tiles, and they've been installing them in the mornings before students arrive. When I arrived at work this morning, and this was last week, they had finished all of them. It looked so great. So just a shout out, so when we go out and do those things. So early in the year when I first started, we were the district was having a PD day in August, and I was going through and observing, and I noticed there was there was a ceiling light that said, there was a note hanging from the light on the ceiling in a classroom that said, "Bad ballast." And I thought, I wonder if that's a teacher that put that there to let everyone know, like I needed light to be fixed or not, and I did bring it up, I took a picture of it, and I brought it up with Sean at the time, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, we know that, we put that there." So they were doing an inventory and fixing the bulbs and putting in new ones, and so they knew that one was a ballast issue, not a light issue. So just a shout out to Sean and his team and everyone who participates in the learning walks and helps out our staff, so that's my report.
That's a great, I love that, it's nice to get some recognition like this, and to actually hear an email like that or message, love it. Okay, we are going to move on to the consent agenda. So I'm assuming everybody has taken a look at it. I would like to thank Christy for getting back to me so quickly today with a couple questions that I had. But other than that, I have no questions unless anybody else has any or would like to pull something.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Board Member Walker, a second by Board Member Fenske, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now moving on to our action items. There's a lot of stuff here, okay. We are going to hear from,
Me. You're gonna hear from me a lot for the next
yeah,
little bit.
there's a few things on here, okay.
Katie is not feeling well and was not able to make it tonight, so I'm stepping in for her. We worked on these contracts together, so
Okay.
I will do my best to be
I
Katie.
know, it's funny, cause I looked and I'm like,
Where is she?
she's not here today,
No.
just totally threw me off.
She really tried. So I do have some notes that she would like me to share with you based on bringing forward this contract. So before we ask for approval, just for a little bit of a background for folks that may or may not know, the ELOP program, which is the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, is a result of state funds that were provided to all school districts to provide high-quality enriching programs to extend the school days. The intent for our most at-risk students. Students can qualify for these programs as unduplicated students, so as long as they are EL eligible for free and reduced, foster youth or homeless, they qualify. A representative of our district, I don't know how often this gets reported out, so she gave me some statistics as of last week. We have 952 students who are multilingual learners. We have 3,150 students who qualify as that word, I always stumble. Thank you. Economically disadvantaged, and 160 who qualify for foster or homeless youth. Due to the fact that we still are under 55% unduplicated count, we do qualify for rate 2 and not rate 1, which I've talked about in some of my presentations before, that rate 2 has a lower rate and it gets decided after rate 1 is all said and done. My next, later on, we'll be talking a little bit about some of that in the governor's proposal to help us out with that. And so the contracts that are before you tonight are for our current partners, which are Right at School and Sunrise Parks and Recreation. They are for the 26-27 school year. It's my understanding that we've started partnering with these two organizations for the Roseville side in 2024. And partnering with Sunrise Park and Rec since 2006. That I do know is old because all of my children went through that program at Antelope Meadows, so it has been around for a while. So tonight we're asking for approval of both the 26-27 contract for Right at School and the 26-27 contract for Sunrise Park and Rec to provide our ELOP program to our students. We need two separate motions for approvals and approvals.
So just a quick question, I just wanna clarify, these programs are fully state funded?
Yes.
So district isn't coming out anything for these particular programs or either provider?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
That was something I was thinking of too, cause I thought, wow, that's a
But the money goes to us.
big price tag.
The money comes to us and then we're paying.
And then I saw that there's like with each contract has sort of a minimum participant threshold to make sure there's a critical mass so they can do the program.
Yes.
I mean, this is maybe a more technical question, but of that, are we above that minimum requirement? And
Yes.
basically the demand is high. It's not, is it ever a waitlist situation for that, or is it pretty
It
well
can
set?
get close to that, but we, in these contracts, they originally had kind of a max. But we asked them to remove that piece because we wanted to make sure that if we continue to grow and have more eligible students, that we won't get back to that situation of having a wait list. So currently we have 560 students that participate, 334 through Sunrise, and then 226 through Right at School.
The reason there's two different entities is based on the footprint, is that how it's delineated?
Basically,
Okay.
yeah, because Sunrise Park and Rec only does that side of the district. And they've been around for a long time, and then Right at School is the newest. So this will be the second year with them, right? Third year.
I feel like this is the third year. I don't know, the years honestly kind of smashed together and then you lose track, but when the ELOP program was started through the state and the funding came through, we have had partnerships with Sunrise Parks and Rec for, how old are your kids, 27 or something? For a long time, for providing paid for childcare on the Antelope side, and on the Roseville side, it was Roseville City that provides Adventure Club for a paid for program. We partnered with Roseville City, I think the first year, in Roseville. And then over in Antelope, we partnered with Sunrise Parks and Rec, as they already had buildings on our campus and we had a long partnership with them, so it seemed right to do so. And they were interested, and then the second year, I believe, we only did 1 year with Roseville. The Roseville City Parks and Rec decided that they didn't want to operate ELOP for us or Roseville City School District. And so we found another provider, which was Right at School. So then we started partnering with them. And that's why we don't partner with Adventure Club over in Roseville.
And the reason this is just this question, the reason we kind of outsource that is because of the complexity of the staff. I talked to Katie earlier today and she was helping.
Yes, Jim, Roger, and I analyzed all the staffing it would require, all the staff to run the programs it would require, us to hire more staff here as well. And then continuing with recruiting people to work in the programs regularly and monitor all of that extra staffing. We likely would have had to hire another payroll person, another person in Dez's office, and probably someone in my office full-time to run those programs.
So,
Thank you.
just another quick question, the Adventure Club program, this is what runs during the school year. This is gonna be in the summer. Essentially, Adventure Club is gonna pause for, or so is there?
So ELOP doesn't run just in the summer, it runs all school year, and then in the summer, we're required to run it as well for 9 hours a day, for a certain number of days in the summer. Adventure Club is a paid-for program, and they run that all throughout the school year, and they have summer paid-for program, just like they always have,
Okay, so
through Roseville Parks and Rec.
I think 1 year, if I recall correctly, it was like maybe 21 or 22, ELOP open to like everybody. If I'm not mistaken, not just
If you
unduplicated.
qualified,
So, these two programs, Adventure Club and ELP, are gonna run parallel over the summer.
yes,
Adventure Club's gonna remain in their typical facility.
through Roseville City Parks and Rec. Mhm.
Okay, and then where's ELOP gonna be carried out?
In the same buildings they use now, they use classrooms and the multi-purpose room at the school sites.
Thank you.
The only other thing I was happy to hear from Katie is that she takes active oversight of the program and she visits to make sure
She
things
does.
are up to snuff.
Yep.
And the kids don't just sit there, there's actual enrichment programming that goes along with it. And I was happy to hear about all that, and so.
Yeah, she does regular check-ins with all of the programs and frequently pops in to all of them and talks to the staff and goes into the different classrooms that ages are, divided up and staffing and all of that, so she regularly pops into those.
That's what she said, yeah, that was reassuring, that's
Yeah.
good, yeah. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Anybody else? Do we have a motion? These have to go separate.
So I make a motion, I have to approve first, I'll make a motion to approve the Sunrise Recreation Park District MOU for 2026-2027.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion by Board Member Haynes, a second by Board Member Fenske, all in favor? Aye.
I'll make a second motion to approve the contract for Right at School Services Agreement 2026-2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Haynes, second by Board Member Walker, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay. I feel like John should introduce the next person because he
Thank
wants to
you,
say his
and I've been
piece.
working on this for 2 years. I'd like to introduce Sean Schandelmeyer.
Thank you very much.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So good, John.
I'm very proud of that.
I turned off the microphone.
Didn't expect that, but thank you.
Thank you, John, thank you. More great news, we've been approved for another bus grant preliminarily. It's the first part of the application for the ZESD project, the Zero Emission School Bus Incentive. We've been approved for up to $350,000. So this resolution before you is pretty much a formality just to get that ball rolling to get more funding. So we currently have 10 electric buses and we're looking for number 11. So we were originally 179th on the wait list, and thanks to Steve Sanchez, our supervisor of transportation, and his due diligence and his pressing these agencies to get these grants, we've been preliminarily awarded. So I'd like the board to pass this resolution. The good news is we can also combine this grant with another grant from either Placer or SAC Air Boards to fully fund the school bus.
And how many more buses will this cover?
This will be one bus, so that would make 11 total electric buses.
So how many buses do we have total now?
We have 10 electric, and we've got a couple diesel buses as well.
Couple diesels still?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I see them all over, the electric ones.
Yeah. The blue bumpers.
Yeah.
Any questions?
One of the things I know that we're working on was the potential to turn one of the buses into like a mobile command center at some point in time. I know this is kind of tangential to that, but are we getting closer to that capacity for
We
crisis
have
management?
Wi-Fi on the bus.
Okay,
So that's half of it right there, so yes.
that's great, and that was a goal, and it's only been a year, so good job, I guess.
I think Brian's gonna hop in.
Yeah, we have Wi-Fi on 3 buses. 2 electric, 1 diesel. Diesel will last longer in case the battery starts going down on electric, so we can maintain a longer period for that command center on the diesel.
So is that Starlink or is that?
It's actually,
5G?
it's 5G through Verizon.
Okay.
Yeah, each of the buses is outfitted with a router that will connect to a wireless tower locally.
I love that, it just gives us that capacity to do crisis management at any campus, and I've seen the district office deploy to manage circumstances before, and it's nice to have like a.
And you can also see where the buses are, correct, using that technology?
For those 3 buses, yes.
Okay, but maybe that'll be on all the buses eventually, so you could kind of keep track.
Yeah,
We'll see.
You got a grant?
Probably be a
You got a grant for that, Sean?
requirement soon enough.
Okay.
Great, thanks, that's my other question.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for Zero Emission Bus Incentive Project.
I'll second.
This is a roll call vote, but we have a motion by Board Member Walker, a second by Board Member Fenske, so roll call.
Yes, President Pagnoni, how do you vote?
Yes.
Member Fenske, how do you vote?
Yes.
Member Balcom?
Yes.
Member Walker?
Aye.
And Member Haynes?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, 5-0, yay,
Thank you very much.
very exciting.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Schandelmeyer.
Okay, we are going to move on to information items, starting with the mid-year update for LCAP.
So Christy and I will tag team this because we do a lot together.
We do.
So we never like to be alone.
It's a good thing you like each other.
It is. So tonight, we're bringing forward the mid-year LCAP report, which you can see in the summary was added by Senate bill in 2023. So most of you are familiar with all the things LCAP, and we normally bring you the end of the year, the new LCAP for the following year with the budget in June. This is the mid-year update based on things that are transpiring during the school year. And so we have an update for you now. The main report was in the annotation, so you saw there's, I forget how many pages this was, 24?
24.
So there was a 24-page report with a lot of detail information in there. We're going to just do an overview of what's in that report because I don't think we want to go through all 24 pages of the report tonight. So we're gonna sum it up for you, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, so Sarah, thank you. She touched on part of this slide already, that this is a requirement, and it came out of Senate Bill 114 in 2023. There is no set template that we must use, so we're following along with what we've done here before. And this will give us mid-year outcome data along with expenses, and this is intended to help us plan and implement any changes and to give the board and the public a status of where we're at. There you go. Oh, well, that went way too fast.
Sorry, got
Oh, that's okay.
excited. Oh, that's weird.
It's not going back.
No, it's just
Oh,
showing 111, but on our,
Yeah,
it
that's
shows
weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, so that's weird. I don't know
Yeah,
what's
I don't-
happening up there.
They're all big priorities.
Okay, well, it's the 4 goals. All students will demonstrate growth towards meeting or exceeding standards in math and English language arts, ELA. And English learners will demonstrate progress in developing English language proficiency. Number 2, maintain safe and orderly schools in a positive and engaging and supportive climate. 3, foster meaningful parent and community engagement. And 4, ensure compliance programs, services, and facilities are maintained at high levels. Okay, so on this chart, well, we've already said that there's the 24 pages are in your packet already. So this table summarizes by goal and action number, if the actions have been fully implemented, partially implemented, or not implemented, as indicated by the color coding. This status is based on a percentage of actual expenditures spent through the end of November 2025. So just keep in mind that this data is only through November, and so a lot has happened since then.
So we use the first interim numbers for the expenditures in the mid-year.
And so those percentages in colors, so if it's green, it means it's fully implemented, we've spent 29% of the projected budget or more. Yellow means partially implemented, which is 6 to 28% expenditures. And red means not yet implemented, which is 0 to 5%. So for example, in the 5th column, you'll see action 2.2 is in the red, kind of red. And that doesn't mean that nothing has been done, it just means that we haven't spent enough dollars to hit that threshold of that percentage. So for example, in that one, as of November, we spent $23. There have been actions that have happened, they just either haven't hit the books as an expense yet, or it was staff time and things like that that we aren't putting into here. And with that, I'm gonna pass back to Sarah.
Are there any questions about the expenditures and any of that? Okay. And then the next 3 slides are just an update regarding the metrics so far this school year. So we know that the LCAP runs through the end of the school year and many of the metrics don't come until the end of the school year. But some of the metrics you have seen already. So in the LCAP, several of the actions are measured by specific things such as our Williams audit for instructional materials or our Williams audit for highly qualified staff. We also have all of the dashboard data in the metrics, which we went over in depth last time we met. So I won't belabor those. So if it says it's not available until June or we already got it in December, that is why those dates are different in the side there. overall, I think some that just are completed, you can see there, so our Williams audits. And if you remember at the beginning of the year, we actually had a real Williams audit this year where we had people come out and count our books at several of our schools. So that doesn't usually happen every year. Normally, the Williams audit is covered through our instructional materials resolution, which you also approved in September. Our CAS performance and our dashboard obviously is a year behind always. Unfortunately, we have some numbers here for PLTW, which is Project Lead the Way, and I kind of just wanted to do an aside really quick if I could. So in the middle schools through Project Lead the Way, our robotics friends will be able to continue their love of robotics because part of PLTW does have a robotics course, actually two. And so it's exciting to see that they'll be able to then take those electives in middle school and carry that forward, so that's fun. And then some of the things like our PBIS self-evaluation will not be available until the end of the year. Our middle school dropout rate is 0. We're happy about that. Oh, okay. And then we've met our class size target ratios. We don't have any combo classes in K1, and all of our fit inspections were done in September as well with Sean and his team, and all of our sites were in good or better repair. So that's just a really brief little summary of all of the metrics that are in the LCAP thus far this year. My team and the sites monitor all of the actions and services for the school year. And then Christy and I monitor the expenditures, and we're regularly collaborating about those and have some good systems on how to track all the expenditures back to all of the actions and services. Anything to add?
Nope, I think you got it.
Okay. So it's just an information item, so if anyone has any questions, we're happy to address them.
If we have no questions or comments, I'm gonna move on to the next one.
Thank you, no, it's good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I just really appreciate having the presentation and the information prior to the board meeting. So thank you for your effort in getting that together. It really helps me to have the time to look at it and study it, and you guys did a wonderful job. So thank you for putting all those metrics there and all the information. It's a lot of progress our district's making.
Okay, let's move on to 8.2, the governor's budget proposals with
Again. Okay, there's the book. He's flying around, sorry. Okay, so I touched a little bit on this in the January meeting, and then Cliff alluded to some of it in his discussion earlier, so we're gonna jump right in. And so, based on the workshop that we were all at, which was, I'm grateful that my entire team came, the economy for US and California continues to grow, which we're excited to hear. Although there's some uncertainty there because there are, you know, as we've mentioned, there's a few tech companies that are driving that increase in those market gains, and so, you know, we're always cautious when it's driven on one particular area. And then we also still have federal policies that are coming into play and some foreign trade issues where we're worried about the cost of things, and that could have a significant impact. So the governor's 26-27 budget proposal was a balanced budget. However, they are expecting, as we mentioned before, $22 million deficit from 27 to 28 and on. And so we're definitely concerned about that piece of it. California tax collections are coming in higher, and I'm gonna touch a little more on that in just a moment. And there is something we haven't seen in a long time. There's a significant difference between the governor's proposed budget that's coming out of the Department of Finance compared to what the LAO had shared with us. And so we haven't seen this big of a difference, and I couldn't even tell you how long, it's been a long time. So Prop 98, I'm just gonna do a little reminder that that is school district's main source of funding. So for the big three taxes, personal income tax, corporation tax and sales tax, we get 40 cents on every dollar, and that is the major part of our budget. So the estimate from compared to previous is $17 billion higher. So that does sound great, and we expect to see something of that. This is $7.7 billion higher than the LAO's office had projected in November. And for us, school districts across, we are the largest part of the state budget, and so that is concerning that gap is there. And many of the proposals in his budget are based on these revenues coming in so high. So that's kind of where we're having our little bit of uncertainty and hesitation. We don't plan on building much of his proposals into the budget for next year until we feel like it's a little more certain that they're actually gonna come in that high. I know in the past, we've built a lot of them in. Roger was pretty good about, where we were and adding those things in, and right now, most districts are not putting these in just because we don't know. So as part of the budget, the good news is that 71% of the budget is spent on core education and enrichment programs. 29% of it is being put back into the rainy day fund. And so we're happy about that. But there is a downside. Similar to last year, but on a much larger scale, the governor is proposing another settle up of $5.6 billion. That is about 26% of the new funding. And the goal is to help with the state deficit, which I don't think many of us believe that will take care of that problem. For us, for all school districts, it's roughly $909 per ADA. So for Dry Creek alone, that's over $5.5 million that they're proposing to hold back. And so a little explanation on that piece is that Prop 98 doesn't get finalized and reconciled till the following May. So right now, they're working at finalizing last year. And so if the state, for a settle to be an obligation, is when the state appropriates less than what's finally certified, which is a real issue for us. And with the settle up, which is last year and this year, the first 2 years they've done that before they've suspended. The caveat to this is that when we do get paid back, there's no inflation added to it. And the timeline is decided by the Department of Finance, and they can pick 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. It's not set in statute as if they had suspended. That does have a statute that says once the state can afford it, you must pay it back, and it does have those other pieces added on to it. But did you wanna add something? Oh, I thought I saw you reaching for your mic. So some of the risks that we're seeing, and we've talked about these before and everybody's seeing them, is declining enrollment statewide. That nobody has changed that projection, it's gonna continue. There are a growing number of districts that are deficit spending beyond what we would call our planned deficit spending some of those one-time dollars that sit in our bottom line or in our savings account. Districts are actually deficit spending and are having trouble sustaining those out years. And so when you start to see declining enrollment and that deficit spending is when you start to see fiscal crisis. So we are not in that situation. This district has well managed its dollars and planned for that future. You've seen in prior years and in the presentations that I've done, we're planning for that declining enrollment, and we're strategically thinking about staffing and all of those pieces on a regular basis to ensure that's not us. So some of the major takeaways, the COLA 2.41, which at first interim we had 2.51. The word on the street is that it'll probably still come back up a little bit, so we're okay there. There is a final round of the Learning and Recovery Emergency Block Grant, the LREBG. It was proposed to have, from the original amount that we had been cut from 23, 24, was gonna be 3 payments. We've gotten 1 so far this year. And now the governor's proposing giving us the final 2 in the 26-27 year. The spending deadline would still be 6/30/28, so that's a quick turnaround. And then to touch on the ELOP program, so that is ongoing funding, and he proposed a stabilization of rate 2. Right now it's whatever's left after rate 1 gets paid out, then they divvy that across those of us that are in a rate 2 district. So he's proposing a minimum of $1,800 per student, and then whatever is left after rate 1 would bring us up a little bit more. So for us right now, this year was $1,252, I think, per student, so this would significantly help our program, for us to be able to offer additional enrichment, maybe some things to do with our facilities around these programs. And then the now infamously long discretionary block grant that we don't have an acronym for, is proposed at $2.88 billion statewide. This would be one time. It's estimated around $512 per ADA. And for us, that would be a little over $3.2 million, and we'd have till the end of June 30th, 2030 to spend that, and it is intended to be fully discretionary. There are some key areas that they suggest, but in the language of the trailer, it does say to help districts with ongoing and rising costs. And I don't remember the language on the rest, but it's saying that we can do what we feel is necessary to keep our schools up and running. And then there is a proposed increase to special ed funding, which would increase our base rate from $917 to $999 per student, which is fantastic because we definitely need that help. That gap is large. It doesn't solve the problem, but it would definitely help. That's hard to see. So these are the planning factors that it seems so easy on the screen on my monitor. These are the planning factors for current year and next year, and then our following 2 years. And these are some of the key things that we use to build our budget. So if you were to look at the third column, which says 26-27, in that yellow, it shows our enrollment and the change. And then the next column is continued through those next 3 years. So we're showing that declining enrollment. We are building a slight factor for the students that could be coming from these new developments, but we're being very conservative because we don't know how that's gonna go. The one directly behind us is slower than they had originally. They thought they would have been selling by now, and they haven't even, there's no wood in the ground yet, so we're not there. So we're kind of slowing that back a little bit. And then just some of the other things like our COLA for the next couple of years, our lottery funding, CalSTRS and PERS, we do see a little drop in PERS for next year. And then it'll kind of creep back up a little bit, and minimum wage. And staffing updates for next year. The previously brought to you over and over again was the sunsetting position list. And so with the one-time funds that we already have, that we've been planning and trying to figure out how we were gonna maximize those, along with supplemental grant funds and Medi-Cal dollars, we are able to extend all of those positions through 28-29. So that gives us a long lead time on figuring out what we may want to keep and how we would be able to do that. We are also intending to, add 2 assistant principals, and that would be a 0.5 at 4 school sites. The 4 school sites that currently do not have an AP. So a little background on that is that all 4 of these sites house, the words are not here today, house multiple specialized programs that require daily support. They will support overall with attendance, behavior, instructional practice, as well as, which also relate back to your new board goals. They can help with many things and give site the flexibility to use them when needed and to free up other staff that are often pulled from their typical duties for a variety of situations. It would also relieve the burden of having a teacher in charge being pulled out of their classroom when a principal has to be off-site, because this person could step in that role, which we all know we wanna keep teachers in the classroom. And then a little bit more we've talked about before as well is with our declining enrollment, based strictly on numbers. In our projections, we would be reducing 9 FTE. And we don't know what that's truly gonna look like, so, as much as we're going conservative, but we don't know what kids are gonna show up. So we're in our second week of monitoring new registrations, and some of that looks pretty good. Some areas we thought might be lower, coming in higher, so some of those are good. And we will be adding 1 special ed teacher and 1 instructional aide for special ed. Potentially more as we go, as we start to have these deeper conversations with program and seeing students as they matriculate and the needs of those classrooms. So we'll be bringing you another update as part of second interim next month. So next steps we've gone through the budget for proposals, and we're dealing with the enrollment and staffing, and then we'll bring you second interim in March. And then we'll move quickly into the May revise and budget development.
That's gonna go by fast.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Does anyone have any questions, comments for Christy?
Well, thank you for staying on top of that and looking for opportunities.
Absolutely.
I know it's a job I don't really want. It's a lot of numbers. Okay, we're gonna move on to 8.3, the negotiation reopeners of, I just wanna say CC. Desiree?
Yes, of course, thank you. So before the board tonight are the negotiation reopeners between the California School Employees Association, CSEA, and Dry Creek Joint Elementary School District for the successor agreement. By law, these reopeners have to be presented in a public board meeting for public comment. And once public comment and this is out, these reopeners can be the starting point for our negotiations for this successor agreement that will go through June 30th, 2028.
Do we have any comments?
We do not.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Any questions for me? All right.
Okay.
Good luck.
We are moving on to policy reviews. First one is 9.1. First reading, second reading for 1445 response to immigration enforcement. Has everyone had a chance to read this?
Yeah, I think we have to have that approved by March 1st, correct, Cliff?
Yes.
So it's not something
Okay, but I did have a question. So I looked at all the red line version and contrasted it with the updated language. Comparing it, they seem very much
Yes.
already
I'll
the
answer
same,
why we
like
just-
it's already, like we've already met the letter of the law just in terms of what we already had, so.
It didn't match exactly the new guidance, and there were parts when we did the comparison that we were gonna have to rework and move things and all of that, and the CSBA had changed the policy number. And so we discussed it, and it was less complicated to wipe the policy and rewrite the whole thing instead of moving all the things. And then we're gonna keep the number, but then change the number to match, because for Sarah, keeping up with the updates, if there is any other law changes, would be hard for her to make sure that we didn't miss with the two numbers not being the same.
Right.
So we just said, just start over and write the whole policy out so that we don't miss anything by rearranging all of the things. And there were a few items that needed to be added or reworded based on the new guidance. We did a comparison between our policy and the new one. In the system, it actually does it for you, which is nice. You don't have to go like we normally do.
Which is what I was doing.
And so there were a few items that needed to be adjusted. And that's why the whole thing is redlined and started
Right, we moved
over.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a curiosity question. What if we didn't approve it by the deadline?
Then we wouldn't submit it on the deadline the state gave us.
Would we get in trouble?
I don't know if
I'm just curious if they,
the
if there's
state
something like they
AG
said,
police
well,
are gonna come and get me if I don't put it in there. We would have to see.
I mean, this is out
Don't
of
be
the,
scared, I'm not gonna suggest not approving it.
I mean, this is out of the norm. The state, passed
I
this
don't
bill in
usually
the
have
fall.
to like upload our policies, even if it's a mandated one, I don't usually have to upload, it's interesting, yeah.
Right, I mean, the way I saw this was, it's just the usual state virtue signaling, so.
Well, what's different with this one is the Attorney General created I think it's like a 54-page brochure, I don't know what you wanna call it, on model policies. So this is the first time I've ever seen the legislature say you have to update your policies and you have to make sure you address all the things in the model language policy. Usually CSBA is the one that comes up with model language based on the law, not the state saying, here's the language. But they didn't really give us the specific language, they just said, these may affect a bunch of different policies where immigration status is mentioned. So we did have to review all of our policies to see if they already contain that, so this was basically the one that we needed to do. But yeah, a little abnormal.
Yes, well, thank you, I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and it does have some trickle effect to other policies, like you saw the student records one was on there. Next time we come, I have the directory information, Sarah, am I thinking right? I can't think of, release of information, so there's a couple more that it does trickle to, but not this much language in the other ones, it's like a paragraph here or there in the other ones.
So
But this is the only one that has to be uploaded.
this is new law that we have to.
Yes.
Yeah, my understanding, Big Brother will be watching us. The state government will be watching us in this.
Well, to that effect, I just wanna state for the record, whether it's immigration or any other issue, this represents an unacceptable overstep by the state into local control. It's a micromanagement, you guys know how much I love that. It's an erosion of local control and trust in our school districts. We're a particularly high-performing district, and I know for a fact that each and every person in here cares about every student, no matter what their background is. And we don't need Mr. Bonta coming in and dictating what to write specifically in our policy. I just think it needs to be known for the record that, at least from my perspective, this is an egregious overstep, and I think that's something that needs to go back up the legislature. We need to remember this when it comes time to vote, and a message needs to be sent. We don't need Sacramento's tendrils working their way into our business. So that's all I have.
Jason, I will second your sentiment.
Thank you.
That being said, unless we have any other comments or questions.
Just, in a nutshell, I've read it, and it seems like, again, a lot of the stuff is already in existence. So, but the baseline of this is, to Jason's point, Sacramento, the state just seeking to put, are there any substantive hurdles here to the obedience to the law, Cliff, that you can see?
No, so regardless whether it's immigration law enforcement, local law enforcement, we wouldn't just allow law enforcement to come and remove a student without proper documentation, without a warrant. We wouldn't release information to law enforcement without a subpoena. So that already exists and will continue to exist. The state legislature felt like they needed to call that out specifically about immigration law enforcement officers. So that's not really a change in practice, it's just a
We already have procedures, policies, and advisories in place for all of that anyway, for
Right, which is
any,
why I call it
whether
virtue
it's
signaling.
Roseville City Police or Sac Sheriff or whoever's coming. We already have those policies and procedures in place across the district and have for a long, long time. And so this is just an addition to the procedures
like
we
to-
already have in place.
I'd like to thank the executive team and our district staff and just for maintaining our great relationships with local law enforcement partners and encourage continued, cooperation within the extent of the law.
That's the spirit. I just hope that, I don't see us not complying with the law in this, and I hope that we'll continue to have that posture of, playing ball. So it's a very, all these policies here in this next round are real fun, so it's very interesting, but I realize
It's real fun
we know
for all
where,
of us
we know where
too.
they're coming from, I know, I appreciate the work. It makes a lot of sense, like you said, to update the entire policy to make future discrepancies easier to spot, so.
So do we approve like the 5145 board policy, the administrative record also, like separate votes? Or
Well,
just
it
all
would
together?
be 1445 now, so we're approving.
Oh, 2045,
Yeah, it's just the changing of the number, but it's the same policy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess we're looking for a waiving of the second reading and a vote tonight.
Okay, for board policy 1445, I'll waive the second reading and move to pass it, make a motion to pass it.
I second.
We have a motion by Board Member Fenske, second by Board Member Haynes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, with protest.
Motion passes. Protest.
And the administrative record, is that a separate motion?
The student records, the
No,
next
the
one,
AR.
9.
No.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so we're moving on to
Yeah.
9.2, I guess.
Yes, so we're moving on to first reading of 9.2, 5145.3, non-discrimination, harassment, board policy, administrative regulation, 5125 records, blah, blah, blah.
So if you look, I discussed this with Cliff, I looked at the board policy 5125. And a huge red flag came up, is where they redlined except as required by state or federal law. It seemed like a violation of Article 6. But according to, I guess, somewhere else that is put back in some other location, right, Cliff?
Yeah, so that was taken out of this one and it was added to the one you just approved.
Okay.
The 1445, it clarifies that, unless requested by, federal or state law enforcement, unless required by law, that
No, that's somewhere
would
else,
comply,
yeah,
so
I
they
just wanna make
just
sure,
moved
yeah.
there's a little paragraph in green that says C regulation 1445 that we just moved it to.
Got it too, okay.
Yeah.
The Article 6 is the supremacy clause for the federal government or state. Okay, I have no comments on this.
So if no comments, no questions, does anyone want to make a motion?
Sure, so we're gonna approve board policy 5145.3, correct? Is that right? So we did the first two,
So we have to do the first one.
how do we do this?
Just 5145.3 and then 5125?
Do we do okay, the
I
two,
mean, you could
okay.
just say 9.2.
You can just say 9.2 and they all go.
Okay, can we just do 9.2? Okay, I thought we had, okay, I make a motion to approve all the policies in 9.2.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Board Member Fenske, a second by Board Member Balcom, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to, is everyone ready for
6159.
9.3? Which is the policies for review for lots of stuff.
Those are all in regard to special education services.
Yes, use of restraint, administrative regulation, non-public sectarian school agency, special education, behavioral interventions, et cetera. Is anyone,
So just a quick question on that, just in terms of staff and other student safety, if a student presents a substantial physical risk, I understand there's no prone restraints, or it looks like pretty much any restraints of any kind. How does a staff member then restrain a student from harming them or other students?
There are certain situations where that does happen and there's certain staff members that are trained in a specific, they have to take a specific training in order to do those restraints properly. And NCI training, and we actually have we have one trainer now, Amanda is trained to be a trainer for that. And we have to hold those trainings regularly to keep staff updated on those certifications through our special education department.
So I might have missed the qualifier part, but in
Which one are you in,
under
Jason, so I can?
under 5131.41, under prohibitions, item 5 said additionally
Oh, you're
staff.
asking about specific restraints. You said the prone restraint,
Correct.
yes.
So there's is it that specific one, or is it just?
No, you asked about, can they restrain kids? Yes, they can, but they have to go through that specific training to do the proper restraints.
Yeah, 9.3, I just have a comment on, let me get my glasses on, 6159.4. Just not a fan of replacing his, her with the students. I prefer gender or specific sex, like his, her versus the students.
So when CSBA puts these updates forward, that's something they've been putting forward is gender neutral language for a while. It sounds like we have been leaving that the way it was and not doing gender neutral language, so this was from one of our newer staff members like me, so we can, amend this and leave the his or her in there instead of the student if you would like.
I would prefer that, yeah. Thank you.
And since it is an AR, that's something, we can do, we don't need to necessarily bring this back, but I know John did bring up that concern, so if that's something the board would like.
I prefer to leave it with students. I just think it helps us remember that we're talking about students. And it reads clearer.
I like the his, her.
I mean, oftentimes it does say student in the sentence as the student and then later refers to them using a pronoun, but I get what you're saying, but if you when you're getting to the vote for this item, if you do want us to amend it, you just let us know and then have to have enough of a majority to do that.
If we're allowed to leave it as his, her, then that sounds fine with me.
Okay, sounds good. What do you think, Jason? His, her?
Sure.
Okay,
Do you wanna make a motion then, John, with the amendment?
sure, I'd like to maintain the his, her language versus the gender neutral language in this board policy.
Are you
I'll
also,
make a motion for that.
are you also making a motion to approve the board policy with the amendment?
I'd make a motion to approve the board policy 9.3 with the amendment to AR 6159.4 to keep the his, her, he, she kind of language in the policy.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion by board member Fenske, a second by board member Haynes, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on.
I oppose.
Oh, Tracy, so 4-1, Tracy opposes. Okay, moving on to 9.4, first reading for selected board policies for review, design build contracts. Has everyone had a chance to look at this one?
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. Any comments, questions?
No. I make a motion to approve item 9.4.
Second.
We have a motion by board member Fenske, a second by board member Walker, all in favor?
Aye.
No, none opposed. Okay, 9.5, it's the last one. First reading for review for 6173 and 5113, education for foster youth and absences and excuses. Any questions, comments?
I have are we looking at both of them? For item AR 5113, item 9, it says we need to give, or any student wanting to participate in, sorry, let me find it again here. I'm sorry, that's item 10.
It's 10.
Item 10, participation in a civic or political event, that they notify the school ahead of time. Is there like a time stipulation, like does it need to be 24 hours in advance?
There's no specific time stipulation, but if you're trying to excuse yourself on the way out the door, we usually would say no. So we did have that situation last week with some of our students potentially wanting to join up with the walkouts that were happening at Wood Creek High. And Mr. Knox had to deal with that, and I know he was given a shout out earlier for that, but we had no students at Silverado request or notify prior. And it was in the moment at seventh grade lunch that a few tried to leave campus, so he just clarified with them that they would have had to give prior notice, and while they can exercise their right, they needed to stay on campus, so. So I would typically say it's usually the day before or possibly the morning of, like before school, but.
I think I'd like to see a stipulation for 12 to 24 hours in advance specified to leave it a little bit less ambiguous. Would there be any legal issues with that, or?
We would have to consult legal. I don't know if we're putting our own stipulations on this ed code. We'd have to check to see, can we be more stringent than the ed code or not?
Do we have to codify it in this policy to have a practice like we've employed, just say prior notice must be given? The general practice understanding of it being the day before, et cetera.
That could fall into something like what we call advisories, where we're letting staff know what the protocol is, so we could consult with legal and see if there is the ability to put some type of limitation like that, and that could just be an internal advisory, it wouldn't need to be.
If we don't have to codify it and involve legal to make that general, recommendation, then that would be interesting to me, but if it's more prudent to consult legal, then that's fine.
Yeah, I think it would be, just because I don't know if we can modify the ed code like that, because it's so very specific in regard to their right to participate, and the ed code says just prior notice, it doesn't specifically say, and it says the pupil gives prior notice, not parent.
Right.
And so let's just double check before we put something, we can bring it back with a suggested
Clarification.
statement in there.
Okay. So we'll bring this back then, with no motion on this one.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, our next board meeting is on March 5th. And we look forward to hearing from Christy on the second interim report. I would just like to thank everyone who's here today. Thank you again to Olive Grove, and just Jim, if Jim is watching, we do miss you. And on that note, we are adjourning at 8:26 tonight.
Right.